Highly questionable work week. Who's that over there, Papi?
La señorita Mina Games.
That's right, ESPN senior writer for ESPN the magazine. She does excellent work there. What do you like on the show today, Mina?
I don't know. Nothing happened in the NFL yesterday. It's going to be really hard.
Yeah, it's this one's a good one today. Dale, Papi.
Did the Steelers get host, or did they host themselves?
Oh, what a pleasure to watch this football game. I'm not going to do much in the way of blame here in terms of those two great teams playing at the very top of their sport. Excellent football. But let's check out some of the highlights here because Gronk destroyed the Steelers late. But here, the Steelers still had a chance. And this looks like a touchdown at any point in the history of recorded football. That's an obvious touchdown. For as long as any of us have been watching this, and now the technology is so strong that these referees went letter of the rule instead of spirit of the rule, and that's what happens when arbiters aren't allowed to judge the spirit of the rule. And so then the end of the game, it's total panic. After that happened, the Steelers just combusted. It would have never happened to the Patriots this way, but the Steelers fell apart. This is how I would react to being in this situation. Ben Roethlisberger is reacting this way to game winning. This is champion. It's a Super Bowl champion. That's exactly what I do with urine on my leg. I do the same thing. I do the same stupid thing that he did.
After the game, I saw a lot of analysts and experts go on Twitter and defend the call, pointing out that per the insanely arcane and ridiculous catch rule, it was correct. And yes, it was correct. But yet I wanted to reach through my computer and give each and every one of those tweets a wedgie because just because a rule exists doesn't mean it's a good rule. If 99% of the country thinks it's dumb, if they are accustomed to seeing a runner cross the plane and score a touchdown in just that exact manner, perhaps it's time to get in line with the 99% and make sure the rule reflects the conventional wisdom. The NFL needs to change this before next season.
I love, though, that the difference between those two football teams is Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger go up against Rex Burkhead, that those two football teams, the difference between them is that thin. We're spending so much time, though, talking about the other tight end, the wrong tight end, and whether that was a catch. And we're ignoring what Gronk did to the Steelers, which is break them over his knee. Look at what he does at the end. This right here, at the end of all of this, Gronk is wide open, of course. Look, pushes him off and laughs at him like a giant mime. Like if they already trained a polar bear to catch passes. Now they've trained him to be a mime who laughs in the face of people when he does things like that to them.
In the next play to get even, they had to run the ball into the end zone. That's what he gets paid for. You know, after a call like that, you got to be able to move a pile of tacklers. You know, you're big enough, you got to grab that ball and just crash the end zone. That's what you got to do. Big Ben.
For the record, my father is advocating for a 10-yard quarterback sneak, which would have been better than the play that Ben chose.
That's right. Are the Steelers done if they lose Antonio Brown for the playoff?
Here's how durable and great Antonio Brown has been. He left the field and went to the hospital with fears about compartment syndrome. You could lose your leg with compartment syndrome. That's all horrifying. And you know what was most surprising to me after it happened? That he dropped the ball, that he didn't catch this, because I expect him to catch everything, even if his legs are falling off. And yeah, that's you can't lose that, Mina. You can't beat the Patriots at home with the conditions you had yesterday. How are you going to beat the Patriots in the playoffs at their place now with this guy hurt?
So I am part of the panel at ESPN that picks MVP candidates every week. And Antonio Brown was rising in the poll last week. And now we are literally running out of stars with working arms and legs. It is going to be Brady by default, which should be the NFL's motto every year, Brady by default. Now, people will watch last night's game and say, hey, they can still win without Antonio. They almost had it at the end. But anyone who's watched Ben this season knows he depends on him so much. Le'Veon Bell depends on him so much. They'll win games, but they're not going to go all the way without Antonio Brown.
I love the idea, though, and maybe this is the year we do it. Instead of calling it the Super Bowl, we just call it the Brady by default. Sometimes he wins it, sometimes he doesn't, but it's always the Brady by default.
Antonio's playing no matter what, even if he got to wear crutches. You know, he's playing on crutches. Really? That's right. He's going to shop. He's going to shop.
Not only that, wait a minute. Antonio Brown on crutches. Yes or no, he has 100 yards? Because I got him having 100 yards. Yeah. I do. And furthermore, stiff arming with the crutch. Stiff arming.
That's right. Where the Cowboys gifted the win.
Would you guys like to see the difference between 6-8 in the NFL and 8-6? Because the Cowboys are 8-6, and today the Raiders are 6-8. And here is the difference. This is the difference right here. This is not any fun to watch. Now, with all the technology we have in 2017, a chain gang is measuring this. This old person is going to go ahead and mark it wherever he thinks his foot should go. And then, at the height of this multi-billion-dollar industry, with an index card, look, and he knows he's got it. Look at Gene Sarator. Thespian drama. Yes, first down.
That's right.
That's what we need. More rules and more people in charge of rules deciding our football.
You know when you go to a concert and they check your bag and they kind of rustle around for a few seconds and they send you through and it's supposed to make you feel safe? That is the chaining. It is security theater. It is randomness masquerading as order. They don't know where the ball is. It's arbitrarily placed somewhere on the field, and yet they need to measure it to an inch with a card
with a chain
to make you feel like they got it right.
2017, like we could watch the game from Mars, built on something by Elon Musk. They're doing it with a chain. That's how they measure things.
Where are the lasers?
And old people, they're measuring it there with a credit card. And you know what? Those old guys just put the ball there. It could have been anywhere in that pile.
In conclusion, yes, the Cowboys were gifted away.
What the hell is that? Why are we deciding games this way?
Should the Packers rest your precious little Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season?
Oh, you know what? Go bleep yourselves. This is the producer of the show. These immature, these kids that don't understand what greatness is really all about. They put my Aaron Rodgers in a terrible position yesterday, my beloved, precious little Aaron Rodgers, in a terrible position by making him play injured. His footwork was all wrong. He doesn't throw interceptions like that. The gift of this guy is being precise. He was imprecise yesterday, and they lost. And then that Geronimo guy betrayed him at the end because he was going to win. And McCarthy wasn't going to go for two because McCarthy's afraid. But they should sit him for the rest of the season. Their season's over.
Not biased at all. This is pretty simple to me. If they're out of playoff contention, they should obviously sit Aaron Rodgers, not just because he's a star, or as Dan told me before the show, a beacon of light and magic in a dark, dark world. Those are his words, not mine.
That's correct.
But because he is clearly injured. Now, you can worry that this might send a bad message to the other starters, but I actually think it's a pretty good message, which is the Packers want to compete next year and be good, and they don't want to risk their franchise quarterback. I don't think football players will have trouble understanding that.
And also, if you sit him for the rest of the season, we could fire that army of schlubs he's been carrying forever. We don't have to have him carry them into the playoffs so they have to get extensions.
You're like his mom or something.
I really am. I am sounding defensive and I am protective. I am like, if someone hurts him again, I will jiggle onto the field in a panic and I will give him CPR if someone dares to hurt that golden arm again.
You are dying to give Aaron Rodgers CPR.
Oh, so much. And I don't care who knows it.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
Mina has a tattoo of a Super Bowl victory by the Seahawks right here, I think. So she is mad about this question. But it kind of felt that way. It felt like the Rams. I know they're injured. I know the Seahawks are injured. But the Rams didn't just beat the Seahawks. And Mina, you haven't seen this happen before. They just kept handing the ball off and beating the Seahawks.
My son Stevie Show is brought to you
because it doesn't mean anything to the NFL. It's not going to mean much of anything to the Panthers. Maybe to that community where he mattered, but an owner can run that team just as well as he did. It means a great deal to Jerry Richardson, and we're ignoring the actual victims in all of this, which is what the question should be about. Men have been behaving badly for a long time, not just in Hollywood, throughout our country's history and throughout any country's history. And now another rich, powerful man has gone down because of the entitlement around that money and power that gave him access to behavior that he shouldn't have been partaking in. So, again, Jerry Richardson, he'll be fine. He'll be okay. He's late in life, and while his self-worth may take a hit because of the football stuff, he's going to be okay. We're talking about the wrong things here.
I don't think we know what the Jerry Richardson story means because no one in the NFL is talking about the actual story. In fact, nobody's really talking about what he did. The players, the team, the NFL, Richardson himself have yet to address the actual allegations. His statement did not go into the details. The team is, according to Sports Illustrated, trying to keep people from talking. We've got Jerry Jones, of all people, saying that he's a battler as though he's the real victim here. There is, as Dan said, a national conversation about sexual harassment and assault in the workplace happening in every industry. But that conversation has yet to reach the NFL.
What they just did here is they fled before the shame of that arrived. Jerry Richardson got out because God knows what kind of stories were about to come out on Jerry Richardson, so he wants to minimize the damage on this. This by itself is enough for him to let go of that team. He's doing this. He doesn't want to let go of that team. He's doing this because of whatever it is he fears that's down the pike.
We don't know yet if the NFL pressured him to sell, if Goodell was involved in any of this. I know that Goodell is probably very happy that it seems to have gone away quickly, but that's not enough. he needs to come out, the commissioner himself, and talk about what happened. He can't just expect this to go away quietly into the night.
But nobody is equipped to deal with this. Hollywood's not equipped. Men in powerful positions aren't equipped. Football might be less equipped than just about anybody because there is a national reckoning going on, and it is swallowing powerful people who have behaved poorly.
Is it the end of the Seahawks era in the NFC West?
Mina has a tattoo of a Super Bowl victory by the Seahawks right here, I think. So she is mad about this question. But it kind of felt that way. It felt like the Rams. I know they're injured. I know the Seahawks are injured. But the Rams didn't just beat the Seahawks. And Mina, you haven't seen this happen before. They just kept handing the ball off and beating the Seahawks. They didn't even have to throw it. They didn't have to take advantage of a decimated secondary. They just kept giving it to Gurley or anybody else who wanted to carry the football and mowed over the Seahawks. It might not be the end, but that's what the end would look like if it was.
So I was watching the New England Patriots last night, and a couple of things occurred to me. Number one, the devil definitely has Bill Belichick's soul in a glass somewhere, because how does this keep happening?
Right.
Number two, it's incredible that he's been able to do this for so long. Seattle has been successful for a few years now, and that in itself is impossible in the NFL. It does feel like the end of something. Now, they have a young quarterback, so they're not going to blow it up and rebuild. But that defense is aging, and it's injured, and the rest of the conference is getting stronger and stronger. Yeah. It's so hard to stay on top in the NFL.
Such good points by her, all of them, because what the Patriots have done is amazing. But also with those Seahawks, they have that caged fury. It's always been caged that they harness, and they win Super Bowls with it. But when they're winning, you still know it's caged fury. When they're losing, it looks like it did yesterday, where Pete Carroll doesn't seem to have any control over a bunch of guys who have just lost it.
You know when they'll know that it's over? When Pete Carroll runs away for a better job.
Oh, like
that's right. That's the way he does things. You
all
know?
of a sudden, Pete Carroll's at the Giants press conference. You know it's over for Seattle.
Too real.
Do opponents need to start respecting Blake Bortles?
Bortles is how he pronounces the name. My father's got trouble with that when he's always making it Bottles. It's okay. Blake won't take it as disrespect. He has not been very good the entirety of his career, but that team is very good, and they annihilated the Texans yesterday. And afterwards, David Clowney was asked if his thoughts have changed. He said, nah, he's trash. So that team is so good that people aren't respecting Blake Bortles. But Blake Bortles can absolutely stumble his way to a 4-interception Super Bowl performance because of how good that defense is. This guy might stumble his way into a Super Bowl.
A couple of weeks ago before the Seattle game, Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey, who really is the NFL's poet laureate at this point, put it quite well when he said, "We were sorry, and now we're not." And that's true for Blake Bortles. And I think that we, the hot-taking class, as well as the players, have trouble accepting that, because once we think a player is bad, we can't really deal with the fact that maybe they got a little bit better. And maybe over the last 4 weeks, Blake Bortles has thrown 7 touchdowns and 1 interception, and maybe he's quite good.
He's gotten the QBR, the highest in the entire sport over the last 3 weeks. Don't buy this, though. Come on now. You know Blake Bortles is good. I know Blake Bortles is good. Soon Blake Bortles will prove that he's not good.
But what about Blake Buttles?
Blake Buttles is a totally different person. Maybe that's what's happened the last 3 weeks.
Did you hear that? Can you hear that?
What's that?
What is it?
Here. MVP. MVP.
Oh, I do hear it.
MVP.
Oh,
MVP.
Oh, Blake Bortles.
MVP.
Come on.
MVP.
Let's go. Oh,
I'm
Brady
on
by
ESPN's
default.
panel. I can make it happen.
Brady by default. Always Brady by default.
Or Brady by default.
Coming up next on my son's TV show.
Okay. There's
Watch.
Isaiah.
No, he's not a warlock.
Oh, he's not. You missed the end.
No.
You missed the end.
No.
Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that is already mentally on vacation. Do you question?
You give us topics and events, we question them.
Do you question which team celebration was better?
Oh, Mina liked this question. She saw it before the show. She's Ivy League educated, dedicated herself to journalism and writing and the arts, and now we are comparing on television whose celebration is better. Is it the Packers celebration here with Devontae Adams?
Oh, I liked this one.
You did like this one.
This was
Okay.
creative, I thought.
Okay, so let's see what we've got here.
They're race walking.
Oh, race walking. Okay, I didn't need race walking. I feel like that whole game the Bills and the Colts played last week was basically that. Now let's check in the day before with the Lions. TJ Jones of the Lions. Is this better than the fast walking? I was thoroughly unimpressed with the fast walkers.
That's the point. It's supposed to be unimpressive.
Okay, so let's see what TJ Jones has for us.
All right.
Let's go here. Oh, we got a Rockhead situation.
Yeah. I've seen this.
Oh, Mina, look at the elitist celebration snub. I've seen that before. Points off for creativity.
Did you see the Eagles?
Yeah, let's do the Eagles. Why did the Eagles get in here? This one was better than the other two.
Guys.
The Eagles spinning football one is better than the other two. Our producers stink.
The Eagles are always the best at this. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that.
Don't we know the Eagles are better? Let's go.
You got it all wrong. They do it the best in Canada. Look at this
Canada.
now. That's right.
Oh, what do we got here? My father's right, though. They do this stuff better than Canada. How is Canada less repressed than we are about this stuff? Yeah, see?
Oh,
Yeah, that's how you do it.
wow.
Although you got to be
Human
careful.
limbo.
You got to be careful with your face there. As the person under, you got to be careful. Make sure you've done back
That's
bends or something.
limbo, man.
Because otherwise
Yeah.
you're getting a face full of something
At
unpleasant.
least an index guard between the face and the body. Yeah.
Do you question if Isaiah Thomas is a warlock?
Oh, Mina, are you familiar with our library of warlocks? We have been investigating better than anyone at the network. We're like the outside the lines of warlocks here. Look at all these warlocks we found throughout sports. Let's show them all to Mina. Look, there's the coach of Michigan State. Where the hell did he go? What about number 80 here? Is he a warlock? Let's see, where'd number 80 go? Where'd number 80 go? See, another warlock? This guy doing
Oh,
this.
yeah, I saw
you
this.
saw
Yeah,
this.
this-
Nobody,
Whoa!
nobody
Yeah.
gets up that way. This woman's a fraud.
Yeah, I
She's
can
a
see
fraud
that.
warlock.
Yeah.
This is warlock.
Is that Mariah Carey?
Yeah, but look, that's a warlock. That's not a seat. She doesn't have a seat.
She's just.
That was not a seat. She got up from that position. So let's see our latest candidate for warlockery.
Pick up J.R. Smith. Why? Because of the hustle and what it
Isaiah
means.
Thomas.
Paying
Where's Isaiah
attention
Thomas?
to what's going on the floor.
Okay,
J.R.
there's
Watch.
Isaiah.
No, he's not a warlock.
Oh, he's gone. You missed the end.
No.
You missed the end.
No.
No, look at the end.
No.
Look at the end.
No. Warlock. No. He's just tiny. He's just tiny. He's stuck in someone's armpit. Like he's the worst defender in the league, and he's like about this big. He fits in a shoebox.
I was going to say, I've seen him play defense. I'm used to watching him disappear.
Time to play the game that has something devious up his sleeve. See?
All right.
Oh no.
Flawlessly timed. You tell us what's on television tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued or not.
In syndication, The Price is Right.
Oh, The Price is Right, Puppy. Who's their old host? The old host from the past. Do you remember him?
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss?
No, wait a second.
Wait a minute. Bob Barker is what I was looking for. I don't know what happened there. But let's see. It's just a glitch in the human system. Sometimes I ask questions like that, and that's what happens. Let's check in with a shout-out during Price is Right.
Here he goes.
So would I.
Want to give a shout out? All right, I want to say hi to Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Alshon Jeffrey, Terrell Pryor, and Cam Newton, my fantasy team. Let's go!
Oh, wow. His entire... what's the connection? All right,
Yeah,
hooray.
bunch of random
He didn't even
players.
notice what the money was behind him. He just wanted to shout out his fantasy team. Oh, that makes me sad. Mina, are you intrigued?
Dude, you're deep in the playoffs and you're starting Terrell Pryor.
Wow. Okay, that's funny. Poppy, are you intrigued?
I don't know what the guy said. What did he say?
Okay, my father doesn't like fantasy, and he thinks Randy Moss is the host of The Price is Right, so maybe we should just wrap it up.
Oh, he said Randy Moss. He said Randy Moss. I don't
You
know.
said Randy Moss. Oh, my God. Here comes the
Randy
descent.
Moss. That was he. Randy Moss.
Here comes the descent into senility. We were all fearing it. That's what it's going to look like. I fear it more than you do.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you for watching.
Mina's here all week. A gift for the holidays. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Poppy, we thought that cheerleader warlock was a fraud. Mina thinks she can do it. She's never even tried this before.